I'm Rob from Two Docs Talk, joined by my co-host Abbass Shafi. Today we're going to talk about evening wind down. Last week we talked about morning routine, and we thought it would be helpful to go over an evening wind down to help prepare for sleep. Sleep is such an important part of health. Research consistently shows that less than 7 to 8 hours a night or more than 9 hours of sleep is associated with poor health. Poor sleep is a risk factor for so many diseases. We thought we'd do a top five. We actually have more. We have like 9 things to talk about today. We're just going to go ahead and jump into it. As always, want to get the latest as soon as they're available. Hit the subscribe button below. To start off with the first one, which I think is actually the most important one, get off the phone. Phones, devices, tablets, you name it, they're just everywhere in our life, and they're portable. They're so easy to use. They have all these wonderful apps and different things. You can do a lot with these phones, but they're really problematic for sleep in a number of ways. First of all, these screens are emitting blue light, which is really bad for the in terms of preparing you for sleep. It's telling the body, wake up, wake up. It's daytime. So that's a huge issue. Some advocate using blue blocking glasses, which can help to reduce the light a little bit, so you're not getting as much blue light. The other thing is, don't take your work to bed. This is something that's really important. We can take it's tempting to just grab that iPad or tablet or phone and shoot off an email at 9:30 at night, but doing that just gets everything keeps the brain active and avoids relaxation. Also, all these apps are constantly hitting on dopamine, and you're constantly getting um, activation of your brain when you're trying to wind down and get ready for bed. So, getting off the screen, getting off the phone is super important. I'll let Abbass tackle number two.
Well, the second most important thing is the size of the meal. It takes about 4 hours for our stomach to empty. So a heavy meal should not be uh, eat more than 4 hours before you're going to bed. You can maybe have a lighter dinner maybe within 3 hours. So the human body is just as other animals hibernate during the winter time. At night, our body physiology changes. So the emptier your stomach, the better you sleep, the less reflux. And that's also about hydration as well. You should be hydrated during the day and decrease the fluid intakes before you go into bed, so you don't get up in the middle of the night several times to have to urinate. So it's very important, as always, that you have 1 to 2 glasses of water before each meal. Keep your urination light yellow or clear, and then wind it down in the evening time, particularly before you go to bed, so you can get a good night's sleep.
Okay, number three is dim the lights in your home. This is really quite important. We live in a world of LED lights, and every room is brightly lit. You've got bathroom lights just blazing. We've got wonderful light, and energy is abundant. And so it's easy to light your home these days. However, light of this intensity activates what's called the suprachiasmatic nucleus, which is a little part of our brain and that is very, very responsive to light stimuli. And when it gets those signals, it gets confused because it thinks it's daytime. And so exposing your eye to bright light at night is exactly what you don't want to do. It tells the body it's day. I should be waking up, getting ready to go, and being active. Whereas you want to dim the lights, and so that it's evening time. It's time for rest, and that would be to try to mimic that wake sleep cycle where it's bright in the morning. You want exposure to bright light in the morning is what you want to wake up, and then you want dim lights in the evening and at nighttime. And we'll talk about it in a second. But sleep, it's good to sleep. Recommend sleeping with an eye patch. That's been really helpful for me. And sleeping with an eye patch can really be helpful to just avoid those little lights that are in our room, like the alarm clock or the phone. Messages coming through and it lights up for 10 seconds. Eye patches can be super helpful. Abbass will take the next one.
The another one is caffeine. Lots of people, they think they can drink coffee and go to bed, but The caffeine half-life is 7 to 8 hours. So in general, you should not be drinking any caffeine in the afternoon through the evening time. So even you feel initially falling asleep and drinking caffeine, but however, the overall the stimulants keep you subconsciously awake. So that's any stimulants. Even watching the news in the before you go into bed. That's majority of the news is unfortunately sad or violent news, and that subconsciously keep your mind stimulated and does not allow you to get a good night's sleep. So some consequence people they watch the news with alcohol. Alcohol initially makes you to sleep fast. However, within an hour or two, you wake up, then you cannot fall back to sleep. So avoiding caffeine, alcohol, all in the news and all of that before going to bed is very, very important. Caffeine at least start in the afternoon and try to avoid alcohol as best as you can in the evening time. So those are very, very important thing to do.
And the half life of caffeine is what, about, it's about 6 to 8 hours? Is that right?
Depend exactly 6 to, and that's a coffee even at 3 o'clock in the afternoon still has in your body and almost for 15 16 hours. So that is correct.
Yeah, I used to drink iced tea at lunchtime in the afternoon. It just kind of nice in the summer to have a nice glass of iced tea, but not the best thing for sleep. If you're trying to get to sleep at 9 or 10 o'clock and drinking iced tea at 3, 6 hours later, there's still half of that caffeine still in the body. Number 5, we have a warm bath and sauna and hot tub. So these are the warming of the body. It seems to help with sleep. I don't know if we're really sure exactly how that works, but taking a warm bath seems to be helpful. Maybe it's just relaxation. That warmth is just relaxing. Sauna and hot tub can also be useful, but I caution, avoid using these immediately before bed, because if you come out of a 180 degree or very hot sauna and try to go to bed, you're going to be very hot and it's going to be just hard to fall asleep. So usually allow at least an hour between sauna or hot tub and going to bed. But yeah, these are helpful techniques. And we'll do an episode on sauna, because there is good evidence that it can help prevent dementia and a couple other conditions. The Finnish have done some good studies on that.
The next one is exercise. Exercise, stretching, yoga, mindfulness is very, very good before going to bed, or short walks. However, the vigorous exercise, it causes too much stimulation um, and causes to not be able to relax and to go to bed. I used to play a lot of tennis, and when I was busy with children and stuff like that, I used to play late at night, 8 to 10. Those nights are very tough to fall asleep, and also then your electrolytes imbalance cause you cramps, and then consequently you cannot get good night's sleep. Light stretching exercise with yoga, tai chi, um, short walk after dinner, those are all very helpful, but not vigorous exercise.
Okay, next one is going back to sleeping in a dark room. We talked about that with the eye patch a second ago, but also sleeping in a cool room is really important. So around 65 to 68 degrees is optimal. There is some evidence that sleeping in a cool room can actually help increase something called brown fat. So sleeping in a cool room at 65 degrees can help improve this type of fat that's very helpful for the metabolic system and is very healthy. So brown fat is fat that helps us to stay warm, and it seems to be that staying cool associates also with sleep. The body, when it's cool, is more is ready to go to sleep. If you get hot or get warm, that's when it's time to wake up. So staying cool is a good way to to stay asleep, and is actually quite important. It's as I get older, I've really noticed the temperature of the room is a huge factor in the quality of my sleep.
Next thing is to organizing the next day. Don't take your problem to bed. So maybe an hour, 2 hours before bedtime, organize your next day. Just see what's things should be done on what priority need to do, and also from there, then you can organize your morning, how much get up in the morning to have the morning routine, and it's, if you set up that time, the time that you need to wake up, then you can work out, your 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Then consequently you can work all these evening events, and not taking the work to bed, or thinking about the work to in bed. That's, well, another thing that is a stimulant. So having a routine calming effect, going to bed, and not stressing so much about this organization. This takes about 6 to 7 weeks to develop habits. This should be more habit than stressful, that exactly you're going to go to bed at a certain time, exactly that. So there's guests, there's friends that come there, but be try to go to bed on a certain um, reasonable time that you think, but it starts what time you want to get up, and then you can count back, and then organize your evening, so you can have a nice, comfortable, suit sleep, so give you more energy the next day.
I really like that, and I think that's so important, just to spend a couple minutes to organize the day, and kind of also reflecting on the day too that you just had, and thinking about, I think being having a few minutes just to take a few minutes and just be really grateful for that day, and think about a little bit about, also, as you said, about the next day, but just taking a few minutes and having that calm relaxation. I think also it can be worked into a lot of the other activities that we just talked about. Just taking a few minutes to do some, it doesn't have to be formal meditation, but just a few minutes of deep breathing, or if, or even if the weather is nice outside, walking outside for a few minutes in the evening can be nice, just to get a little bit of relaxation and fresh air, and just a nice end of the day.
One of the biggest things these days for sleep is people, they get too regimented for perfection, and that should not be a goal. It should be just habits and relaxation. Sometimes even a small thing goes miscued and they cannot sleep, so that's not the goal. The goal is just, these are some guidelines to use. Sometimes you can use all of them, some nights you cannot. So as long as you go to reasonable time to go to bed, and avoid caffeine, alcohol, vigorous exercise, and as Rob mentioned, is don't taking the work to bed, and don't take the I personally try to not take the phone within 8-10 feet of me. So just try to, and I tell my children things, call me if it's emergency. Of course, I have the luxury not be on call anymore, so I can afford that. So if you possibly you can, try to do that, and have a wonderful night of sleep, and success the next day.
I always think of my phone as emitting, radiation, so I try to keep it away from my away from me as best as possible. Maybe eight, like you said, 8 to 10 feet. Put it on the other side of the room, on the dresser across the room, or on the windowsill or something. So just a little bit further away, because when it goes off or lights up, you just want to check it, and I think it's a huge issue. Well, that's our top nine wind down tips. We'd love to hear your comments. Always feel free to drop me an email at rob@twodocstalkpodcast.com. We'll put that in the show notes, and you can always leave a comment. And as always, if you like the videos, hit the subscribe button below, and you'll get the latest.
Have a good night, and if you have any suggestion, please let us know.
Thanks, everyone.